Hello, everybody. How you doing? This is DJ Doc here, and I want to welcome you to Straight Talk. Y'all know I love my jazz, and I have to play a little bit of Miss Jasmine Gent, and this is her song Amends. So right now, I just want to let you know that I have a wonderful young man that's going to be on the show. His name is Ryan.McMillan, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about him, okay? Ryan is a proud father, okay, of Carter McMillan and husband to Meg McMillan. He is also an advisor at Prudential Financial and has been with them for 10 years, all right? 10 years, long time. He knows what he's doing. And he has experience in the industry. Ryan helps families and business owners plan for their future and build financial security.
Doing great. I appreciate you having me on the show tonight.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. Doing quite a bit over here right now. But so I want you to tell us a little bit about Proud Father. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. So, you know what? Let me step back for a second. I want you to tell us about your beautiful wife, Meg. Right? We got to
Yeah,
get to
let's
the
talk
wife
about
before we can get to the child, right?
right, exactly. He wouldn't be here without her. So,
There you go.
um, yeah, my beautiful wife, Meg McMillan. We met about going on about 8 years ago. Been married going on about 4 years, be 4 years this November,
All right.
and we met here in San Diego. And we actually went on a crazy adventure back in 2015 together, where we actually lived in Taiwan for 15 months.
Okay.
Teaching English to kids in Taiwan,
Oh,
and
man.
it was a great adventure, great time. We got to experience Asia and travel to about 16 countries while we were away.
Now, the one thing I've got to ask, when you say that you were teaching kids
Mhm.
over there English, how were you conversing? Do either of you speak Taiwanese?
We do not. No. So how our schools were set up was it was an immersion class. So they wanted the kids to mostly speak English while they were in English class.
Mm-hmm.
So we really didn't have to speak the language very often. We picked up a little bit here and there while we were living there. But I mean, I can't say that I'm fluent or my wife is fluent in Mandarin or in Taiwanese.
Okay.
Maybe
All right.
one day, but not. Yeah, maybe one day we will, but not while we were there.
Now, how fun was that? I love the fact that you traveled to all those countries, but how fun was it just being over there working?
Oh, it was amazing. It was one of those experiences that you'll have for a lifetime. I
Now,
tell anybody who gets to go, if you have an opportunity to travel and go see the world, do it. You
now,
know,
whose idea was it to actually do that?
it was my wife's idea. She's the more of the adventure bug, and she has adventure bug more than I do, as
Mm-hmm.
far as that piece of it. But it pulls me out of my comfort zone, which I love that about her. So
Okay.
that really, actually brought us closer together. That whole experience.
Wow, that is just remarkable. Now, tell us about little man. I need to hear
Yeah,
about Carter.
yeah. Carter Mack. Um, what can I say? He's amazing. He's an amazing little kid, full of energy, very social. He loves to dance. Yep, there he is.
Yeah, yeah. You
But
know, you sent me some photos, but I had to get some other photos.
yeah, yeah, no, not hey, that's a great photo of us. Great photo. Yeah, that's actually us when we were visiting my dad in Michigan. Went to
Now,
go check
how
up.
old is Carter now?
He'll be almost 18 months next month.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And, I love the fact that you are a family man,
Yes.
you know? Yeah, yeah, I was on it,
Yeah,
man. I was on it.
Michigan State. Yeah, yep, go green.
Now, is that a school either one of you attended, or is that just for fun?
So I grew up in Lansing, Michigan, and actually my parents had their home was in East Lansing, Michigan, where Michigan State is. Both my parents went to state. So I have a lot of my family who went to Michigan State as well. I have cousins and aunts and uncles have gone to state. So it's just part of my bloodline as far as being a Spartan. But I decided to not follow those footsteps and went west and went to school out here in California. I went to Long Beach State.
Okay, all right. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
assume they're not mad at you for doing that.
Nah, we're still good. Yeah,
So,
I still,
so,
I still.
so now, where I want you to tell us, where did you meet your wife?
Yeah, we met here in San Diego in Pacific Beach, actually. And
Okay.
it's funny where, the song they say, love in the club. Well, that's where we met. We met at a we met at a place called Bar West in PB. And yeah, just kind of we weren't really looking for, love or nothing like that, and just kind of happened. I was single, she was single at the time, and we just connected. And actually, her best friend actually was the one who hooked us up that
Okay.
night. She's like looked at me and was like pointing at me like, "Hey, go talk to my girl. Go talk to my girl." And
Mm-hmm.
some other guy was talking to her at the time. So I just kind of, I was like, "Well, she's fine. So I need to go over there and introduce myself."
There you go. That's
The
it.
rest was
That's it.
history at that point.
I
Yeah,
like that
we're still together.
assertiveness.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta be sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, sometimes. Now, one of the things that I know um, with having the family and so forth,
Hmm.
I want you to tell us about your latest endeavor. All right. I
Yes.
know, and I wanted to lead the conversation and just talk with you about the
Hmm.
family and then what that led into. But that's why I said I got to start with Meg, you know,
Right.
and then
Right.
comes Carter.
Yep.
All right. So tell us about your latest endeavor.
Yeah, so I'm actually a co-author in an upcoming book coming out. Actually, this Monday will be available called Tales from Fatherhood.
Mm-hmm.
So it's myself, yeah. So it's myself and 13 other fathers. We each wrote a chapter in this book, and really just giving our experience of fatherhood. You know, especially as far as good fathers that are out there. Getting more, I guess, getting more credit about what that means and kind of what we go through during our own fatherhood experiences. So my cousin, Stacia Gowan, she was the visionary behind this book, and she just thought of 14 men that she knew in her circles, whether that's family or good friends, that would be a good fit for this book.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited about it. It's like I said, it's coming out next Monday, May 23rd on Amazon. You can either the paperback version or the ebook. You can actually pre-order the ebook right now for 99 cents. So if you go to Amazon, search for Tales from Fatherhood, you should find the book. And I'm definitely looking forward for people to read it, check it out. My chapter, The Certainty of Fatherhood. I really get into just when you're a new father and some things you feel that are going to be certain that are going or certain people or certain things are going to happen when that fatherhood time comes up, and that sometimes things change completely. And I really just dive into that, and just also having a child during the pandemic, which was a whole thing in itself. So I
Right.
just really touch on those points during my fatherhood experience right now, which is very early in it still, but I definitely wanted to share that with the world.
Well, I think it's fantastic, and kudos to becoming an author and
Thank
touching
you.
on a topic that I know is dear to you. We've talked a little bit
Yes.
on the side about things like this, and I think it's fantastic, fantastic. Now,
I appreciate
uh,
it, Doc. Appreciate it.
yeah, now I'm gonna have to put in my request now. When the paperback comes out, I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna need that to be autographed. All right.
Oh yeah,
Um,
most definitely. I will have
yeah,
author copies ready to go. So you
most
definitely will get
definitely.
one.
All right,
Yes.
because I want to be able to look back and
I
say
got you. I
I
got
knew him when, right?
you. Yeah.
I knew him when. Um,
Hmm.
now the one thing that you've done and has allowed you to do the things that you're doing and so forth is you are with Prudential Financial. I want you to
Correct.
tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So with Prudential, I've actually been in the industry, the financial industry, for about going on 10 years now. And what I do at Prudential is really just financial planning and retirement planning. As you already mentioned, I focus on with families and business owners, really helping them build that financial security and plan for their future through life insurance, investments, and even wealth management is really the key touch points I really like to help my clients with. But it's been, I fell into the industry. My first job was in the bank, was in banking, and this was 2009. So definitely recession was still going on. We were, still happening, recession was still happening at the time. And I had a friend of mine, she was working at a bank, and she told me to, I should apply. So I did, got the job, was a banker, didn't know what I was doing. It's
Mm-hmm.
my first like job in finance and did not know what I was doing at the time. But I learned a lot, through my career so far, and really just wanted to sharing that with people that I like to give impact, and the best way I know how to do that is really just helping people manage their finances. It's key. A lot of people definitely need that assistance and some guidance to make that happen.
Right. And the biggest thing with finances and so forth is uh, it can go both ways. You can do really well,
Hmm.
or it can tank sometimes. And it's good
Right.
to have somebody that knows the industry. Now, I want to ask, what was there anything specific that made you get into this field? Are you one that loves numbers and so forth, or what? Because I've talked to quite a few, and they're like, you know what, I just love numbers.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like a super numbers guy. Even back in school, I never really was like I love math class and stuff like that. I was good at it. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't say I was good at it. Just I wasn't in love with it. I really feel for me was just what made me become more passionate about it was the impact that I know that I could do for on people's on families and change lives, change generations. You really can create generational wealth. Starting with your own and just make that
Yeah, you hear
important.
you hear that just rolling in,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
rolling
So
in.
exactly, exactly. And it really started with just my own family too.
Mm-hmm.
Myself growing up, it wasn't talked about a lot at the table. Just credit, how to manage your credit, how to budget, what does that mean, how to start saving, how to invest. So really when I started learning about it, when I started working, really just opened my eyes,
Right.
how this really can, like I said, change lives for people.
So now, with that, what are some of just give me a couple of tips that people should know in regards to finances.
Sure. I would say definitely budget. If you haven't started already, definitely try to create some form of budget. Whether that's just a monthly budget you're doing, really just to kind of see where you stand as far as how much money you're bringing in versus how much is going out.
Mm-hmm.
Second, I would say is invest. Invest early. The sooner the better. The earlier you can start, the better situation you'll be in. And also being consistent with your investments, whether that's, if you do it weekly or monthly, just be consistent on how much you're doing per month. And just like I said, just continue to do that and watch and let the investments grow. I think some people want, a quick, rich, situation or scheme to make it happen. But investment it's sometimes it's a long-term situation. You have to sometimes let that sit for a while before you really see the growth and the reward from it.
Right.
But I would definitely say those are two key things people definitely can get going now is, budgeting and start to invest.
Okay. Okay. So with the budgeting and investment, I know a lot of people are always shy or they shy away from that because they feel like, I've got to know all this stuff. Do
Right.
they really need to know that?
No, they don't need to know everything. I think that's definitely very overwhelming for people to feel that they have to understand how the stock market works completely before they can jump in and this and that. You can start very small funds and, without having to have a whole bunch of money up front to do that. So there's a lot of things now, especially with these apps out here, you can get in early. There's a lot of resources now that people have access to where they can really learn and understand, oh, I can actually, invest my money into this and let it sit for, X amount of time. And that's going to, grow at, at this point. So I really feel that, in today's age that there's definitely too many resources out there for people not to jump in and get involved. You just have to just make the move and make the action to happen, to make it happen.
Now, with investing, what are some of the things that they should think about as far as, in general, what should they invest in? Because I know that's always a question when I started with investments. You would
Mm-hmm.
hear about mutual funds and you'd hear about basic
Right.
stocks. And
Mm-hmm.
nowadays there's Bitcoins and, Ethereum and everything out there. What
Yeah.
should they, when they start to do this, where should they start? just average.
I would say if just starting out, definitely something that is low fees. For example, there's index funds out there, there's possible some mutual funds you can look into, and that gives you access to more than one company. There's also, people sometimes want to invest in one company alone, but you're putting all your eggs in one basket
Right.
versus diversifying your investments, which is, really kind of a more possibly better strategy to start out with, especially if you are just really getting into it. Really, also just is what is your risk tolerance? What I mean by that is how aggressive do you want to be with your investments? There's investments out there where stocks that are very more aggressive versus in there they go up and down quite often because they're more volatile
Hmm.
versus something that's more conservative
Right.
where you have to kind of understand what is your risk tolerance and what can you digest, what you're comfortable doing. Last I would actually say would be also what is your time horizon? How long are you willing to have this money stay invested? Is
Right.
it 5 years? Is it 10 years? Is it 20 years? Is this for retirement? How many years do you have until you reach retirement? So that's something else you have to also put into play
Hmm.
and put those pieces together. And really kind of that's how we come up with the plan. Even myself and my team at Prudential is we sit down with our clients and we really sit down and figure out what is their risk tolerance, what's their time horizon, and really what's also their budget. How much can they afford as far as investing right now based on what they currently have?
Right. And that's the question that I asked was, do they have to know everything? And you just answered that perfectly because the biggest thing when I was first learning, I went to someone that was the expert,
Hmm.
and they told me what they thought would work for me after I gave them my budget and finances and let them know where we were. Um,
Yeah,
that's the big thing that I want people to know is you don't have to know it all. You know, you
right.
don't have to know it all. Individuals like Ryan will get you there where you need to be. They'll work with you and so forth. Um,
Exactly.
Now, I know a lot of times people say, yeah, they started out with me and helped, but then they were gone. That's not you guys, right?
No, definitely not. We make sure we do our check-ins with our clients, frequently, whether that's quarterly, semi-annually. I have some clients who like to talk to me every month, so
Hmm.
and that's okay. I'm okay with that. And at the same time, my team itself, we're fiduciaries. So what that means is, we have a legal obligation to do what's in the best interest of our clients before even our own interests. We are legally obligated to have to do that.
Right.
So that's something too for someone who's even looking for an advisor. You should look to even see are they a fiduciary because like I said, that fiduciary having that fiduciary stamp, they will have to do what's best in the interest of yourself as being the client for them.
Right. And
Hmm.
now the big thing that people need to know is also with you working with Prudential, you had to get licensed and so forth. So,
Correct.
you've been all through the trainings and things of that nature. And like you said, fiduciary, they want to make sure that it's someone that is really trained and has the right
Right.
credentials. Because, like you said
Right.
earlier, there are all sorts of avenues now that are open to people, and I get people that contact me on a daily via social media. Hey, put your money here, send me this, and so forth. Don't do
Hmm.
that, right?
No, there's a lot out there. There's a lot, especially like you said on social media. There's a lot of people that will, have their 2 cents of what they think is best and whatnot. You have to trust the person. I think that's the first and foremost. One, you need to trust them. If they are working with the company, do you like that company? Do you trust the company as well?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So if those two things are alignment, I think you're in a good situation as far as being a client. That's, especially what happened in 2008. Some people got burned during that time. And it's really hard to really gain that trust back. But at the same time, you have to really just build that relationship too.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I do a lot is really take the time to build my relationship with my clients and really get to understand who they are and what's important to them too.
Right. Right. Um, well, the biggest thing that we want to make sure is that people know how to get a hold of you. If they've
Hmm.
got questions and if they're looking for a financial planner to work with them and so forth. And I want to make sure that everyone knows that you can reach this young man. He will definitely take care of you. And I'm going to put up his information here for you. Um, give everyone a tip. I want you to leave us with a tip as to what they need to. I know you told about to start, but let them really know why they need to start early.
Yeah, definitely. The reason why to start early is, like I said before, the more time you have, the better situation you're going to have. With investments, you're giving your investments more time to grow and really just to really build that nest egg that people really want to have in their life and really pass down to their kids and maybe possibly their kids' kids.
Hmm.
So, like I said, that's what the importance is that you can really be this part of the legacy you want to leave for your family. So
Right.
if you can start, the earlier the better. If you can start when you're 20s, that's even great because you have, maybe 40 plus years before you hit retirement. Or it depends on how aggressive you want to be with your investments, like I said before. So that's really, really my major tip is that really it just comes down to the impact that you want to have in your own life, but also in your own family's life too, if that's something that's important to you.
Now, one of the questions I've got for you is it ever too late to start investing?
No, it's never too late to start. It's never too late to start. There may be situations where you have to maybe play some catch up a little bit, but I say it's better start now than never. It's
Right.
always, so that's what I would say about that. It's definitely, if you, no matter where you are right now, just go ahead and just get started.
And you guys are able to get them where they need to be as far as helping them navigate through the world of investments. So
Yeah, I
fantastic.
like to say, with my clients is that they're the drivers and, we're just the GPS, just giving them guidance on their financial roadmap. So that's what we do.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So if you guys need to, you can contact Ryan McMillan. He is with Prudential Financial, and his phone number is 619-646-9935, or you can email him, ryanmcmillan at prudential.com. Like he's saying, you want to make sure that if you haven't started, you start. And even if you've started, make sure you're on the right track. So definitely reach out to Ryan so we can get you where you need to be. Um, I think it's prudent for people to go ahead and get the information and the knowledge that they need so that they can accomplish the goal of setting themselves as well as their family up um, with the future. All right. Well, Ryan, I want to thank you for being here with us. I enjoyed speaking with you, and we're going to do some business together. We've already on path for
Yep,
that.
yep,
So
for
um,
sure.
I think we need to continue to move forward like we're doing. And I want to thank you once again for being here.
Well, thank you again, Doc. I appreciate you having me on the show tonight. Thank you
All
again.
right. No problem. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
Bye bye. Yeah, everybody, finances are something that's very important and personal for a lot of people. But in order to make sure that you're ready, you need to confide in somebody and make sure they are somebody that is licensed and knows what they're doing. Make sure the company is reputable because, like I said before, there are all sorts of people out there now that want you to just give them their money. They tell you, we can get you fast returns and so forth. And it doesn't work like that. I talk to a lot of people who have made that mistake and thought something was going to work for them. So make sure you go with a reputable company, a reputable advisor like Ryan, and take care for yourself and your family. All right. I'm so glad that you joined us here for Straight Talk. And I've been your host, Thomas Howard. And I am so happy to have been and spent this time with you. I want everyone to take care and enjoy the rest of your week.